Hey guys, welcome back to the Pizza Story podcast. Today we're heading to Stockton, California to talk to a true pizza pioneer. We're thrilled to welcome Sarah from Fired Pizza. Fired has captured the Central Valley's heart with their incredible, authentic pizza. Sarah's here to tell us their fascinating story behind pizza, and we're going to learn a little bit about hers. So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro. I love hearing Stockton in that mix. That makes me very excited for my hometown.
Absolutely. I actually was doing another podcast like a week ago and I was like, I need to make my intros better. So I
No,
did
that
some
was wonderful.
studying and yeah, wanted to make yours really good.
That was
So
great.
thanks. I want to talk to you about your story and kind of how you got into pizza. And I love to start like at the very beginning of like, okay, this is like my first experience with pizza when I first decided like, okay, I'm going to go this route.
Yeah. Well, I would say that, my husband and I, we were getting married. I think we were before we actually walked down the altar. And he was saying, my dream has always been to have a restaurant or a place where we could have like bands come and play and like a bar and like something rad, like pizza or something like that. And I had just graduated from college, put myself through college by waiting tables and working in restaurants. And I think my reaction was like, absolutely not. No, we shouldn't get married if that's what you want. Like, I don't want that in my life. So it's funny now sitting here in this place, the
Oh,
things that
right.
you think you actually don't want, like I didn't want to own a restaurant. So with that, I think he knew kind of my desires for my life. And we were a couple years into our marriage and we went to a winery. He was actually in the kind of wine and spirits realm, and so we were at a winery in California, and there was this husband and wife. They had a trailer with a homemade oven on the back of it, and they were making these beautiful margarita pizzas. And I have it as a memory on my Facebook, actually. And we sat there, and he looked at me, and he's like, "We could do this, though. What do you think of this?" And it was so perfect for us. Like, we loved going to wineries. We actually had some friends that owned a brewery and a winery, and we're like, we'll just go and pop up there when we want. And it happened really quickly after that. He found an oven, a used oven, a Munyaini in Salt Lake City, and we drove and pick it up. He really didn't know how to tow anything at that time. I mean, we made it. We didn't know how to light the oven. We didn't know how to make dough. We didn't know
Wow.
anything. We didn't know very much about Neapolitan style pizza other than we really like to eat it. And so everything that has come from this has been this true learning experience together. From the time that we got the oven, that next weekend we had an event. And
Wow.
it was horrible. We did an event for our neighborhood, and so many people came out, and we were literally like, I was like, "Do you know how to light this? Like, do you?" And he's like, "Do you think you could stretch pizza dough?" And I was like, I pretended. Like, you truly fake it till you make it. And
Yeah.
so we started doing that, and it was very organically grown. We learned what not to do, what worked, and eventually really got good at it. And so much of that was, me wanting to be great so that we could be great together, but my husband having this wonderful passion and seeing him come alive. Something that was new for him. I think something about like as a couple learning things together and working together, it was so foundational to our marriage. And so we kind of, there was never any end goal. I think, maybe he would say differently. I know he would say differently. For me, there wasn't. I've always been like enjoying the moment of this and enjoying making pizza. And so much about this has been enjoying the people that were around. So we had the opportunity to buy a food truck in 2019. We kind of rehabbed that food truck, and in 2020 launched it at a very interesting time, right when COVID hit, which COVID was really wonderful to us as a business. It really strengthened our community relationships because so many businesses were reliant on us in order to stay open. We had to pop up there so that way they could have this food requirement to keep their doors open at these wineries and breweries.
Wow.
And yeah, it was wonderful for us. We really established ourselves as a brand through COVID and these neighborhood events that were completely against the COVID protocols. But, you know, this very much is a story about like a community thing for us of where can we pop up? Who needs us to be there? Where do we want to be? What neighborhoods do we want to be in? And then, there was this time a few years into the food truck, Daniel really took it full time. I had to go back to my, career after, post COVID, let's get back into the office. And
Yeah.
Daniel made the decision to go full time with the food truck. But there was a severe amount of burnout, I think, for him, where it was like, are we going to put this down now, or are we going to take it full time? And part of that community spirit was, if there ever was a spot that opened up, it was this place. This is actually a block down from our house. This is a
Wow.
big metal warehouse building. And we said, if that ever comes open, we're going to do it. And he had actually gotten a wonderful job offer in the wine and spirits business, kind of a dream job opportunity. And also, like, our dream space opened up. And it was a big decision for us of like, where are we going to go? A pretty life-changing decision. And we went all in, you know. It was a full year of renovation to make this space what it
Wow.
is now. One full year of like putting all of our money into it. And I think, you know, kind of going back to like, whose is this? Is this, you know, are you the owner? Is this, you're the owner's wife? We get so many of those like kinds of questions. Is that like, you know, so much of this has been just us. Like, there is no other investors. A lot of people think our father-in-law, Daniel's dad, is a co-owner because he's here all the time, or that we had some kind of, you know, backing. We didn't. This was done over a year's amount of time, with like the pennies that we scraped together, and Daniel doing this by himself, learning videos on YouTube, and me just being like, you could do it, babe, holding a
That's
flashlight or a
awesome.
screwdriver for him, you know? And so, yeah, we opened the restaurant in 2023, and I quit my job like the week before
Wow.
we opened and kind of went all in. And that was like a really pivotal time for us in our marriage. It was probably the worst time in our marriage ever. And yeah, we've seen so much success and so many trials. And yeah, and here we are 2 years later. That's the long story. I think the
Wow.
short story would be that finding something that you love to do with your spouse, and that thing has been pizza. You know, we went to Italy in 2019 and it was so romantic, and
Yeah.
working together, I want to say, is like this romantic thing. It's not.
It's not. I work with my husband too. It is not.
It's not, but I've learned so much about ourselves and us together and who I am through it. So if I were to say this is a story about pizza, like, there's like this theme in our marriage that like comes back to that, you know?
That's so awesome. So pizza is like central to your marriage.
Yes. Yeah. In a way I
Wow,
never
I
thought it
love
would
that.
be.
I mean, if you're gonna pick something to be central in your marriage, I feel like pizza is like a really good thing to pick.
For sure. You know, we raised a daughter, my daughter, together, but we didn't have any like, you know, kids of our own together. So pizza's definitely been our baby, especially with the
Yeah.
restaurant now. People are like, "Are you guys going to open another location?" And it feels very much like I have a newborn, and I'm like, "Absolutely not." Like, nope, the baby's still not making it through the night and I'm overwhelmed. But yeah, funny story about that too is I did have like my secret baby name, you know, like if we ever did have children, we decided not to, but it was Atlas, right? It's my
Huh?
secret baby name. We recently did a rebrand. We worked with a wonderful artist, Christian Watson from 1924, and he came up with all these different, you know, kind of ideas and working through it. And one of the brands that he created, I can actually show you in the background here,
Yeah.
is the Atlas, you know, carry the weight of the world, right? But it's our pizza. And I thought that was so funny that our brand, like my baby name came through in this like really organic way. I never told him that. That wasn't like a, you know, anything we talked
Yeah.
about, but it's funny that now, you know, Atlas is there on the wall. It's part of the pizza brand too. So it's funny
It's
how things work
beautiful. I
out.
love it.
Came out really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out so nice. It's amazing. So when you guys were kind of curating your menu, what moved you towards doing Neapolitan pizza versus like New York or Detroit or something that, you
Anything
know?
easier. Why did we not choose anything easier? I ask that all the time. We actually have one of our like logos brands is like pizza the hard way, right?
Yeah.
Why, Lord God, why did we choose Neapolitan pizza? I couldn't tell you other than like we like to do things the hard way. Like if there's a way to do something, we're going to find the absolute hardest way to do it, you know, in anything. I think how you do one thing is how you do everything in life.
Yeah.
Pizza is that. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you could put that into pizza, right? Like if I had to explain myself in my marriage or my life and I had to explain it through pizza, it would be Neapolitan pizza. Why is that? Because like this is like We chop our own wood. We have a wonderful little parcel up in the foothills with a ton of oak trees. And yesterday we were there chopping our own wood. I am literally splitting this. My husband's stacking it. We're bringing it here. This wood, the quality of our pizza is a direct result of work that we did, a year ago, 6 months ago. I could say that, like, the dough is, something that we think about days in advance. And if we're not in a good mood, we have a lot of little, weird things about the dough. It is, you could do cheap pizza really cheaply, and it's great. I love Little Caesars, like cheap pizza. Who doesn't? But I love that we're doing something like really high quality, really hard. Like, not everybody can do this
Yeah.
in our area too. We got our Munyaini trailer. We still have it out of Salt Lake City. I think so much of when we initially bought it, maybe we didn't know what we didn't know naively. Um, Unis weren't a thing back then. Those kinds of, like, easy pop-up ovens, they weren't a thing. And we probably would have done that if that was an option. It wasn't an option. So we got really great at doing wood-fired pizza, and we can do it at a very large scale. Had we have gone into this restaurant um, without having been on the food truck and out having been on this catering side, we would have failed. We would have failed miserably
Wow.
because we can't do the volume that we're doing at the restaurant had we have not been able to do the incredible volumes that we were doing as a catering. So yeah, Neapolitan, why did we choose it? We didn't know any better. And here we are now, stuck with it.
Well, and amazing at it, so that's great.
Yeah. We got really good at it during COVID. We were contacted by Facebook and Amazon, and we're in the Central Valley. So we're very close to, like, Silicon Valley and a lot of distribution hubs throughout California. And so during COVID, they were doing these, like, employee appreciation Christmas parties, and we're doing, 1,200 pizzas in a day in a wood fired oven.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you do that? Well, it's
That's
not
a
easy.
ton of pizzas.
Wood fired pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
1,200.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And
Which is
then what
incredible.
does it take to cook one pizza for you guys?
I mean, just once we get to the line here, it's pretty simple. That's a really quick process of, like, the dough stretching beautifully if it's great dough, and really simple sauce. We were just using crushed, Stanislaus tomatoes,
Yeah.
and it's a quick topping, and it cooks in 90 seconds. Um,
Wow.
but that's like one pizza, right? And I see these beautiful pizzerias. Like I said, we've been, traveled all the world and across the United States and see it. And I think that really simply done, it's a beautiful, simple thing, right? Wood fired pizza is beautifully simple. It's everything you want it to be. It's clean. It's
Yeah.
fresh. It comes out of the oven very quickly. You see it all. Everything is in that taste. The wood, the smoke, everything. We generally, here in this restaurant, we can fit, upwards of 150 people. We're doing, takeout as well. We don't do the Uber Eats or anything like that. We're easily doing, 200 to 300 doughs a night on a busy night.
Wow.
This line is incredible. This line back here is insane. And it's not what I see elsewhere. It's not what I've seen. I don't think I've seen anybody do the scale of wood-fired pizza that we're doing it night after night. So it's one thing to think about doing just like like this really nice slow lunch service that
Yeah.
you're putting out like 10, 20 pies, maybe even 50 pies. That's a crazy night. That's wonderful. Like, this is something totally different.
Yeah, it is for sure. Sounds like fired pizza. Like you guys are like firing the
In the
pizzas,
fire.
you're firing them out to
Yeah,
people.
we definitely cry. We've definitely had people cry in the back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And did you guys have a special meaning for your name or a special reason why you picked it?
Oh God, I think we weren't even being creative. No, we didn't. We couldn't come up with anything else. We could not come up with anything else. I think there was a joke about, like, us getting fired from our jobs. It was like fired pizza.
I
Could
love
and
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, my husband, I come from a marketing background. He certainly comes from a sales and marketing background. Oh, I think a lot of people want to see their name attached to something, right? That feels great to have your name up in lights,
Yeah.
Korea pizza or Daniel's pizza or Daniel and Sarah's pizza and, like, your face or whatever that is. I think there's a reason for that, but I think that might also be a little bit of poor branding because so much of this is us. But now it's like this other thing. It's like your child out in the world, and your child needs to have its own identity. Hopefully Fired Pizza can become and has become, our chefs here. It's my service. It's the people that come and dine here that feel that identity here. And if we would have called it something more attached to us, maybe it wouldn't have had that translation for people. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
and
we
that
did. We were
growth.
uncreative.
No, I
Yeah.
love the name. I was one of the things that I saw at the beginning where I was like, these are the people that I want on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Now let's talk about the menu. How did you guys curate your menu?
Well, again, the hardest way ever. We actually just submitted for the Pizza Today Awards, and we've been talking a lot about this menu. We wanted to win for best menu. We actually won for best beverage program, which is wonderful, and it's a huge honor. But speaking directly just to like the food menu itself, is we have our core menu, which is very simple. It's very stripped down, 14 pizzas and 8 appetizers, a couple salads, a couple desserts, and espresso. So very, very stripped down menu. Very traditional Neapolitan toppings, no more than like one or two. But we wanted to have this additional menu. And initially, when we launched, we were thinking we called it like our seasonal menu. And maybe in my mind, I was thinking it would be like quarterly, we would change it, or like as we wanted to. It very quickly evolved into this monthly rotating menu. From a business standpoint, it's been wonderful. This is what keeps people coming in. There is a buzz with our customers that they know what's next month's menu is going to be. What are you guys doing? Can I make something? What do you guys do this? What about this? And then for our partners, we are in the Central Valley. We literally have farms that are a mile away from us. We know the farmers. I've actually picked the shishito peppers myself in times
Wow.
of desperation. Yes. And, we're very like tuned into what is seasonal because we're driving past it every day.
Yeah.
And so that menu is so much is like, what do the farmers have right now? What's in season? What do we really want to do? What's exciting? And so that menu is usually 3 to 4 pizzas. They're a little bit more adventurous for people. We do a very, over the top dessert, just one, and it's made fresh every single day. And then we do a couple of appetizers, a seasonal salad, and then we have a whole drink list that is just for that month. Yeah. And from a business standpoint, that's great, right? Like we're guaranteed getting these customers coming back in, and there's like this buzz and there's this loyalty and there's this element of surprise and anticipation. From an actual implementation side, it's again the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing ever. We have these wonderful chefs. I'm not a chef. My husband's not a chef. We like pizza and we know what should go on it and we do it well. But we actually have chefs that are trained and like know what they're doing and have fancy words for the things that they're doing. And they have their own ideas. And so there are a ton of hurt feelings. I mean, even me, like I get vetoed left and right. No. And maybe they'll bring a dish and we're like, nah, we're not. And so this is somebody's like art. This is our passion. We're being very frank with each other about like that sucked. Or how do we deliver this on a Friday night at scale? Are you going to be able to achieve this? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back to the drawing board. So we're doing that every single month throughout the month, thinking about January, thinking about, whatever that theme is, what's in season, what can we get? Yeah. We just decided, how can we do this the absolute hardest way? And we're like, yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah, but I think it's so genius to have that rotating monthly menu because you're right. It's like a very good marketing idea. People look forward to that month and what
Yeah.
you guys might have. And it's really, really
Yeah.
good thing to do.
Yeah. A lot of brand loyalty there. But again, like we started a YouTube channel recently, and the YouTube channel is its whole other thing. And
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that come up as a part of that YouTube channel. Right now, it's mostly line work, but I think there's a big story to be told there in what happens in the kitchen month after month. It's a hot seat.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
could be an amazing video series.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now if you're going into the shop, do you have like on your monthly rotating menu or anything, what is your favorite thing, like your go-to?
We don't really have go-tos. Like we are now two
Mhm.
years into this like monthly rotating menu. Certainly we have pizzas that get called back, that
Yeah.
people love. And they're like, when are you going to do that again? My favorite, my husband would hate that I would say this. I'm going to say it anyway. My favorite pizza is the pesto potato. It is the simplest pizza. It is my pizza. I created it from day one. Like our first pizza
Hmm.
event, I was like, I'm going to do this beautiful pesto. We're going to have thinly sliced potatoes. That's it. And I love the simplicity of it. Is it the most visually stunning pizza? No. But the flavor to me is just everything that I want in a pizza. It's very simple. There's no meat. It's gorgeous. People love that pizza and he hates it. But we have to bring it back because there's such a demand for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like the simplest pizza ever. What could I tell you about that? But we do the Good Burger pizza, and it's a cheeseburger pizza. I actually love cheeseburgers. I always joke that we shouldn't have done pizza, we should have done cheeseburgers. But it's a monstrosity of a Neapolitan pizza. You couldn't even call it like, I mean, but it's so good and people are so loyal to it. We do a pickle pizza that people are like, when are you bringing back in a pickle? There's
Mm.
some weird ones, like they're just weird. Are they like true Neapolitan style? I mean, they're cooked in a wood fired oven with, the right dough, but I don't know that the Italians would like it.
No, I get that, but the thing that I love about pizza in America, because we were just in Italy for a month, we just got back, and
Wow.
yeah, what I saw is like compared to here, like pizza in America right now is like so adventurous and so artisan, and you
Mm,
could try all
yes.
these different things, and it's creative, and there's all these different
Right.
people making pizza, and like I love that about pizza in America, and pizza in Italy is also amazing, but they have stuck really much to the traditional styles of pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that like the little black dress is always going to be the little black dress, right? Because it always looks right, it feels right, and it's beautiful and it's timeless and it's classic. I wonder how much of what we're doing here in America is like trashy, like Shein
Well,
style. How are we bastardizing the classic? But that's kind of the fun of doing what you want. It's kind of like being a parent. You can parent your child however you want. There are tons of books on it on how to do it right, but ultimately it's yours to create. And so that's part of the fun of that. I think we've had a challenge here in Stockton specifically. We're first to market as a wood fired pizza.
yeah,
In California, people are really used to their meat pizzas. They're really used to this idea of like everything on it. Here in Stockton, especially, there's kind of like a couple different options of like the chains, right? Chain pizzas, you can get those. We have all of the chains you can think of. But then when we think about independent here in Stockton, there's this dynasty family and they've kind of broken off. And so there's these, Ricks and Michaels and Davids. And this, family has been like the core pizza provider for us, right? And it's what everything is measured up against. And so us being this wood fired style, people are not familiar with it here and what that means. And so you'll get calls. I get calls nightly that are like, "Do you guys have a meat lovers?" And we're like, "No." "Do
no,
you have a Supreme?" And you're like, "No." And like, "Okay, can we do a build your own?" And we're like, "No." It's like, I mean, we have shut people down on that, idea. And so how do you re-educate somebody who already has this idea of what pizza should be and what they think they love and say, and now there's this. And like, by the way, this is the best kind of pizza in my opinion. And you need to give it a shot for what this can be. And that's hard to re-educate someone on that when they already have these preconceived notions on what they think pizza should be. And we get
yeah,
kind of dragged in the comment section. There's all these Facebook, hometown Facebooks, I'm sure that people have. And we're, a part of that in, what's the best pizza place in Stockton? And then, I'm getting all of these DMs that we're getting tagged in it. And like people think we're great. And then people are like, that's the worst pizza ever. It's, they don't understand it.
no.
And people are very passionate about their pizza. They're diehard for this one place, they're diehard for this one style, and it's hard to tell somebody who loves like Chicago deep dish that like we're doing this. It's totally different.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I think you're always going to have people that are haters. Like my family has a very similar thing. You have like a thread and it's like, oh, I like this one. I like this one. Then you get a bunch of my families and I just sort of,
Yeah,
okay,
stay out of the
whatever.
comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
stay out of the
yeah.
comments.
Just stay out
Yeah,
of
and
the
that's
comments.
hard.
Just try to ignore
Well,
it.
we had a kind of advertising campaign that I'm really proud of and did really, really well for us last year. There is a kind of a Central Valley publication here. Um, the San Joaquin magazine. I'm going to call them out. They'll never listen to this podcast. It's fine.
Okay.
They snubbed us pretty hard when we opened. Again, I think that, it's a pay to play magazine, so that's fine. But we were not, advertisers, whereas like these other dynasty families are. And right when we opened, they did a, pizza and beer story. And we weren't asked to be a part of it. And it hurt our feelings. We had money. We would have definitely paid to have been a part of that. And
Yeah.
we were snubbed and we were hurt by that, especially being a new business. And in our Central Valley, there's not very many of us. We're very unique. Like, why would they not ask us? Why were we snubbed? And, I have feelings about that. And we were hurt. So
Yeah.
my husband and I were like, we're doing a billboard and we're going to say San Joaquin Magazine's least favorite pizza. And we were advised against that legally. So what we ended up doing is we did a billboard that said San Joaquin's least favorite pizza. So it was like fired pizza. It was just our oven. It was like black and white. It was like very just plain scaled down our phone number. And it said San Joaquin's least favorite pizza. People lost their mind, like lost their minds. Like cousins, aunts, old friends. People were calling like, there's a misprint on the billboard. They said least favorite pizza. They said most hated pizza. Like they were reading all these things into it. And we're like, no, we did that ourselves. Like it's funny. People
Yeah.
got it and we were crazy. Like we got so much business out of that campaign. For me, it was a direct like FU to San Joaquin Magazine shots fired of like, you guys should have advertised with us. I think they will never ask us to advertise with them again. But from a marketing campaign, we really like solidified ourselves and kind of leaned into the idea that Neapolitan is, and again, I think the Italians, like, there are so many people that would disagree with the statement, but here for us, Neapolitan tends to be the least favorite type of pizza. It's scrutinized. The Dave Portneys of the world hate it. It doesn't stand up. It's this, it's that. And it's like, okay, we're going to lean into it. Least favorite pizza, whatever. And if it's not
No,
for you, it's
you're
not
right.
for you. Yeah,
No. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, in Italy, like almost everywhere, we had Neapolitan pizza, but back
right.
here,
No,
it's what you said.
yeah, it's soggy. Oh, we get this all the time. Your pizza's soggy. And it's like, well, it's kind of actually supposed to be, eaten with a fork and knife. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to stand up. Also, you put a ton of bastardized toppings on it, and yeah, it's going to be soggy because I told you not to do that. And now, so we get, how do you reverse that? And I don't think we've learned how to do that. All we've been able to do is to lean into that and say, okay, we're the least favorite type of pizza, and we're doing it wonderfully and beautifully. And I think too, there's a little bit of like, I've always felt, I certainly my husband's super like DIY punk rocker, like of if you know, you know, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. And I like the idea that this isn't for everybody. Like this is not for everybody. You're not going to like it. And if you don't like it, you don't need to be here. And we are great enough, and this gives me chills enough. And I love that we are busy enough. We have such a cult following and we're doing great business that I can tell people, well, you can leave. And we will. Thank you. Goodbye. You don't need to be here. That's a
Yeah.
luxury in business, I think that, we'll take advantage of if we can.
Yeah,
That's a
I
little
understand
Italian.
that.
Get out of here. That's so
Yeah.
Italian.
Yeah. No, it is Italian. In fact, we were in Italy and my husband called a restaurant that my parents go to a lot and he asked the owner what the menu was. And he was like, if you need to know what the menu is, you shouldn't come in here and eat. And I was like, well, that's where we're going.
That is exactly what I want. Yeah. And I think we kind of have that attitude naturally. Maybe that's kind of in us naturally of like, it's not for you then. I love that.
Absolutely. I love that you guys are real. I feel like your marketing is very genius. Your social media following is incredible. Like your pictures are incredible. The messaging, the vibe, like there's so many amazing things that you guys are doing. And that's what I really love about your pizzeria.
Well, I'll tell you this. First off, the social media is very much myself and Daniel and our commentary to each other and like the inside jokes that are us and like our people and our staff. And so I'm genuinely looking through my stories, like giggling to myself because I think it's hilarious. So if I'm laughing at myself, then, whatever, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I do, but, I'm doing this for my own pleasure. But aside from that, this is very real. This is not like us tracing trends or anything like that. But I do think that this is something I've picked up on probably a little bit late. And I think it's kind of like the Romeo and Michelle syndrome of like, if I think I was the most popular person in high school, what does it matter if everybody else doesn't think that? I think that there is a huge clicky pizza scene. I'm sure you're aware of that. I probably came on late to this idea. My husband's much more aware of it, of like the who's who in the pizza scene, right? And like those people definitely stay clicked together. They're in each other's DMs. They're commenting on all of their photos on Instagram. And they are like just all over each other. Like the relevance that they need to have, these types of pizza influencers need to have, to me feels very unoriginal, inauthentic, and like grifter, like whoever is the most popular, I'm going to be commenting on their pizzas. I'm going to be, in their DMs, and we're all like saying how great we are and, great job, man. And I'm going to be on, this podcast or whatever. And I find that like, I don't like that at all. And if we have to be like the assholes out, then I'm fine with that, because I try and tell my husband that too, of like, who cares? Like, look at our restaurant. It's packed every day of the week. Like, I don't care for the most popular pizza place on
Yeah.
Instagram. That matters not to me. If I had no social media presence, but I have a line out the door every day, who cares? Right.
Yeah.
But I think there is some relevance to that now. We do live in a social media world. So you can't say that social media doesn't matter and that your brand isn't associated with that in any way, because it almost is like the town square now, right? Like, that's where
Yeah.
you present yourself. So how do you walk that line and be true to yourself and not see what everybody else is doing and kind of pick yourself apart because of that? I don't know. I think I'm better than my husband in that realm. And all that to say, just that like he definitely is so aware of what's happening around us, which is important. But then we can like laugh at it and make fun of them.
Yeah, and I think by doing what you guys are doing just on your social media is like you can see that you guys are committed and passionate to making really good, amazing pizza and creative and care about your customers and what they like and are always putting things on your menu. So to me, that just speaks volumes for who you are.
Yeah, that's hard though. How much do you put on your menu of things that you like, that you think are going to be great, versus like what's going to actually sell? And we've failed at that. And we fail at that every single month, because we're going to put a pizza on there that we love, that we think is like true Neapolitan or something totally different, or like, holy cow, this came together beautifully, and no one's going to order it.
Yeah. Well,
They want the one with
that's the
bacon on it.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, trial and error, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sarah, if somebody wants to find you guys, what's the simplest way to find you?
Come to Stockton, California.
Good.
No, but if you're interested in us and you want to like follow along, our Instagram is great. That's, I think, the greatest short form, easily digestible content. We're at fired_pizza on Instagram. But I think the thing I'm really excited about right now is our YouTube. You can find us at Fired Pizza. The YouTube right now is a little bit of, how we get our wood, how we source our wood, to like working the pizza line. But I do hope it evolves into, our front of house service, into like our conversations about our menu. We're definitely learning about, the YouTube algorithm, but I think that there is a pizza story to be told, and we want to tell that for our restaurant. And you're going to find that on YouTube, and there's only 150 people following us there. So if you want to be a first follower, that's a great place to start.
Absolutely, guys. Go and follow them on YouTube. I
Yes.
have a feeling that
Yes.
they're going to be putting on some amazing content. I'm definitely going to follow you guys. Also, go to at fired_pizza. Follow them there. If you're in Stockton, for sure, stop in, have
Yes.
their pizza. And Sarah, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed talking with you, and I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much for having me. Likewise.